But whoever these gods may be, perhaps it is for the best that they are lost. This video is not so that we can find these lost gods, but to find the truth about our own history. What happened to our ancestors here in our land?
The suffering of strangers.
You are about to learn one of the biggest secrets in the history of the world. It's a secret that has huge effects for everyone who lives on this planet.
Para sa mga bago at dati ko ng subscribers, huwag kalimutan i-follow ang fanpage ng Ancient Magos Tribe sa Facebook. At kung ikaw naman ay nanonood nito sa YouTube, paki-click lang po ang subscribe at bell button para manonotify kayo just in case may mga bago akong i-release na video.
Gold was more to the ancients in the Mediterranean region than just a precious metal. It was a way to honor the gods. In ancient Pyrgi, along the Italian coast, 3 sheets of pure gold was found, inscribed in Etruscan and Phoenician, to record a dedication made by the king in 500 BC to the Phoenician goddess Tanit. A broken pottery shard found near Israel tells of 30 shekels of gold dedicated to a Canaanite god. Gold of Ophir to Beth Horon, 30 shekels. King David of Israel chose to use gold from Ophir for the temple and sacred gold items, namely 3,000 talents of gold of the gold of Ophir. Gold was a highly valued element, and gold from Ophir seemed to hold a special place for the gods. David's son, King Solomon, partnered with the Phoenicians to procure gold from Ophir for the holy temple he was building, and Huram by his servants sent him ships and servants who knew the sea, and they went with Solomon's servants to Ophir, and took from there 450 talents of gold, and brought them to King Solomon. Phoenician king Hiram of Tyre, who partnered with King Solomon, worshipped the god Melkart as the lord of Tyre and the king of the city. The god had a long-lasting temple dedicated in his name at Tyre, built during the reign of Hiram in the 10th century BC. Melkart, also known as Baal Hammon to the Phoenicians, was the celestial consort of the Queen of Heaven, Tanit. Melkart was associated with the monarchy, sea, colonization, and commercial enterprise. He was the king who ruled over those who traveled the seas, trading, building colonies, and bringing wealth back home. Baal and his queen Tanit were the chief gods of the colonies like Carthage that sent 10% of their income as tribute to his temple in Tyre. The worship of Tanit and Baal spread far and wide as each colony built their temples and maintained their religious practices. Worship of Baal has been linked to the planet Mars and Tanit to the planet Venus. Imagery used to honor them include celestial symbols like circles and spheres, circles within circles, crescent shapes, and spirals. Phoenicians faithfully merged their religious beliefs into their crafts, and metalworking was no exception. Gold was used to honor the planetary gods, and they used their technologies in granulation, filigree, and repoussé to decorate the metals and alloys with the symbols connected to Tanit and Baal. Triangles were a dominant pattern, as well as circles upon circles, crescent shapes, and spirals. All these geometric shapes and patterns, circles on circles, triangles, crescents, and spirals, are found abundantly in Philippine golden artifacts. The Sun Cross, also known as the quatrefoil or tet, in all its variations, was used in the worship of Baal. An altar of Baal would often have his Sun Cross symbol, as well as his monuments. There are several representations of the Sun Cross sign of Baal on Philippine gold artifacts. In repoussé, delicate filigree work, and in skillfully crafted granulation. The sign of Tanit is a circle, centered over a line, which may have short lines going up from both ends, over an isosceles triangle. The star or celestial wheel symbol, in all its variations, were used to represent the goddess in her statues and monuments. There are many examples of the celestial wheel found decorating Philippine golden artifacts. Easter Tanit was often given the attribute face of Baal. Perhaps she was the first face of the gods to greet the new colonies and the people who came to trade, with her ever-changing face and costume adapting to the custom of the lands to which they went. But even in her diversity, there is unity. Aside from her signs and symbols, Tanit preferred her hair swept up off her face and held in place by a crown or band, with her hair neatly tied up in a bun or otherwise properly bound, maintaining her regal air. She seemed to have been sculpted according to the accepted norms of beauty of each land, and dressed in what noble women would have worn. The bejeweled goddess often had armbands and necklaces and large earrings, or displayed the holes on her distended earlobes. Have we found the face of Baal, Easter Tanit, in Philippine golden artifacts? A mysterious woman appears repeatedly in Philippine ancestral gold. Similar traits indicate she is the representation of a single being. The flower crown on all three female forms on the Philippine golden artifacts are held together by a gold band that begins at the top middle arc of the hairline. Each of the three flowers, directly visible from front view, have 4 petals in exactly the same cross formation. All 3 females have their hair swept up and tied in the back, revealing a distinctive triple-arched hairline. All 3 golden women have neat vertical grooves to represent their hair. All 3 also have large petal-shaped holes on their distended earlobes and clearly defined exposed breasts. Gold was usually reserved for the gods, and the identity of this goddess has eluded us for decades since their discovery. Somehow, she seems out of place, lost in both space and time. Once revered and venerated, now forgotten and cast aside. Even her name eludes us. An analysis of the difference between the 3 could give us clues to her identity. The golden sheet decorated in repoussé and filigree wire shows her with both hands raised and a tree of life sprouting from her head. Ancient representations of the goddess Tanit shows her in similar positions with arms raised up and a tree of life sprouting from her head. This has been interpreted by scholars as a symbol of resurrection. In the golden kinari vessel, the woman is shown having the body and wings of a bird. Tanit was also represented with characteristics of a bird. Venus, the morning and evening star, is seen to fly across the heavens. The golden Tara shows her whole body forming a triangle, and within the triangle one can discern the sign of Tanit, a circle centered over a line formed by her shoulders with arms akimbo, and a triangle formed by her torso and legs. Although enchantingly beautiful in gold, do not be sad for this lost goddess and her consort, for their pleasing appearance was a facade that covered their cruelty. Both Tanit and Baal demanded the sacrifice of children as part of their worship. Greek and Latin sources tell of the Phoenicians' practice of burning children in their fiery embrace. The Lady Tanit, the hands of the statue extended over a brazier into which the child fell once the flames had caused the limbs to contract and its mouth to open. The child was alive and conscious when burned. Philo specified that the sacrificed child was best loved. In 2014, a collaborative paper published by academic institutions around the world concluded, after decades of scholarship denying that the Carthaginians sacrificed their children, new research has found overwhelming evidence that this ancient civilization really did carry out the practice. A practice recorded in scriptures that was abhorrent to God, and shed innocent blood, the blood of their sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan.